Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Story Darlings podcast. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Tera.
And what do we have going on today, Tera?
So today we are going to dive deep into our past and talk about a show that both Sandra and I held very dearly during our teenage years and into college, and even still, Gilmore Girls. So,
Yes.
hope you guys enjoy this blast from a past.
Yeah, I'm going to love talking about this one. It's so weird, like looking back at the show and picking apart the characters and seeing which one you identify with, so many years
Yes.
later. But I've loved returning to Stars Hollow.
When I watched it as a kid, like I had a different take on all of the scenes, all of the characters than I did when I watched it as an adult. And I'm like looking back at it as an adult and going, how did I agree with them? How did I say that was the right choice or the right thing or whatever? And yeah, so it's also nice to watch it with my daughters, like and see their take on it, because Carly's now getting old enough to like really understand what's going on, and so it's really kind of cute. And I also introduced it to my oldest, Addie, and we went to the Universal Studios lot, and so Stars Hollow was filmed there right at the same time that it was filming the Year in the Life episodes or whatever they're called. So it's kind of cool getting to see everything up again and visiting Stars Hollow. So
yeah, I remember it was probably like 5 years ago when they were doing all of that marketing for A Year in the Life, and they had all of these different pop-up like coffee shops around the nation doing like changing to Luke's Diner. I was living in Dallas at the time, and me and a few coworker girlfriends, we went and lined up. I mean, the line was just like snaking around just so we could have like our cup of coffee with the Luke's name
logo
on it. That cup accidentally got thrown away. I was very upset about that. But good times.
Somebody almost lost their life, guys.
You don't mess with me, my Gilmore Girls. But I gotta check on my friend. How you doing?
I am doing good. I know you've heard all about my sour, which I'll bring up later this weekend, but outside of that, I am doing really great. I was writing down like all of the things that I like was gonna say I was doing, which I was doing, and the list is really long. And I'm like, wow, I did a lot this week. Super productive. But yeah, how are you doing?
Same. I'm doing good. It's always kind of crazy holiday season and stuff. I hate the holidays so much. I mean, I like the environment, like everything's light and merry and all this shit, but it's just like there's such an expectation and about obligations and like shopping, and I hate shopping and just doing all of that stuff, and that's not what I'm about at all. I just want to be able to relax, like be cozy and relax and like not do a thing.
I love the shopping. I hate the wrapping of the presents. Like, I feel like that's my like thing that I'm like, I don't want to do this.
I love wrapping
Somebody else
presents.
do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna shop for you. I'll buy everything. You wrap it, and we'll like divide it back out. How about that?
Deal. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this episode comes out after Thanksgiving's happened, so there's one more big one this year. The big one, I feel like, in a lot of ways. But yeah, I mean, just working, momming, trying to stay warm because it's really freaking cold now. I'm drinking a glass of wine right now. Just doing my thing.
So, what have you been doing? Like, have you been reading anything or watching anything or?
Yeah, so I've been catching up on some reading. So still reading Infinite Jest. I have like 200-ish pages left there, which feels like 400. And then I have 200 pages of A Shadow in the Ember done. And then I don't know what I'll read next. Watching, I feel like there was something that recently came out. Oh, I did watch like the first couple of episodes of Squid Game. Oh, I loved it. It reminds me of a really dark and twisted, like Mario Party.
That sounds very interesting. A dark and twisted Mario Party.
Yeah. And there's like Shy Guys, little mask guys that, never mind. It's, have you watched the first episode yet?
I have not.
Okay.
Nope, I have not. I know Justin has, but I was not around during that. So,
Yeah. It's definitely not one to watch around your children. I was like, what the F? So, what have you been doing?
so I am now 10% into the blood or from blood and ash. So I'm making progress, not quick progress, but some progress. And then, of course, well, nobody else knows this, but this is the week that Taylor Swift's Red album came out. So I have been listening to that like nobody's business. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it's kind of one of those nostalgic things because this
Yep.
this album came out when I was like 21, 22, 23. I don't remember exactly what year, but in that time frame. And so like every song on this is like it just brings the feels right back to me. And I'm like, I can go back to the moment where I heard this and it resonated with me the first time.
Oh my
And
God.
so
Yeah.
I loved it. I've been listening to it on repeat. And yeah,
It's
it's
so
just so
good.
good. So good. And yeah, come at me if you don't think it's good. Whatever.
David.
David. um, I've also been watching Criminal Minds, so that has been like, or rewatching Criminal Minds, so that has been taking up my when the kids aren't present time, so I can't watch
Hmm.
Squid Games. And then I watched the movie Red Notice with Ryan Reynolds because
Oh
it also
yeah.
just came out with Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, and Gal Gadot. Hilarious. I love Ryan Reynolds so much, but it was hilarious and just great. And then we also went and took the kids to watch Eternals with
How was that?
Angelina Jolie, and it was really good. There were some twists that I did not anticipate coming in, but
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Justin thought it was a little slow, but he did
Hmm.
not think that the last Avengers that was 3 hours long was slow. So I'm not sure that I'm there with him on that. So
Yeah, lots of good stuff
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
Sweet and sours. My sour is, I mean, by the time this comes out, it'll be much better now, but I like got my fillings done. That my fillings to replace a couple bad ones I got done like 12 years ago. And I forgot how awful it was. I must have like blocked this out from my memory of just how awful it is just lying there, in a reclining back and just having someone in your face drilling and like the smell of your tooth and
Mm-hmm.
just the sound of it. I'm like, can I get some big headphones on and just
Like
like
music.
something? Like, let me block this out.
I also hate how cold it always is. I'm like, I am
Hmm.
shivering here and I'm trying not to move because you're drilling on my tooth. And if I move
Yeah.
just a little bit, you know, it's not going to be
Yeah.
great for me.
You're just lying there and you can't help but feel like the most unfortunate looking person ever. The way your mouth is
Drool
up
coming
and
out because
you're
you're
just
all
like
numb.
drooling and they're like propping your lips up with cotton and just like this this dentist is like right there in your face and
With
I'm
those
just
like
like
really like the magnifying glasses
I
too.
hate it. I hate it so much. It's like please don't remember me this way. But it's over with. So my tooth has been aching ever since, but you know how it has that grittiness right
Hmm.
after? It's ugh. It's slowly getting better. So I'm sure this won't even be a thing in a couple days. So yeah, that's a sour. Sweet, I'm just trying to relax more. I'm still having issues sleeping, but I'm just like the weather, I'm just like sweaters all the time. I got like these grandma house slippers. These are like so soft. So I've
Yeah,
just been wearing these.
I really loved that picture of you like in your like robe and your slippers and going out to check the mail. I'm like, this is like the life of a 80-year-old right here, a little prematurely, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
at least it was the mail, not the newspaper, right?
Yeah. I was like, no one's going to be out there. No one's ever out there. I'm just going to walk to the mailbox. I get out there, there's two young girls sitting in their car, like one house down, and they're just staring at me, walking out to the mailbox. And I was just like, oh God, don't look at them. Don't look at them. Hurry to the mailbox. Make sure like I'm all bundled up in my robe and scurry back into my den.
You should have done a TikTok there. The like nobody's gonna know. How are they gonna know? Nobody's
Yeah,
ever
couldn't
gonna
miss
know.
me. I'm like, they were right there.
You should have like had it on you, and it's like the nobody's gonna know. Nobody's ever gonna know, and then turned it to them staring at you like, how are they gonna know?
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't turn up on next door. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
let's
fun.
tell me something sweet and sour.
So my sweet is I just had a really good week with my kids and just had fun
Mm.
and yeah, just had some good quality family time.
Yeah, they weren't little demons.
They weren't little demons. Michael, I mean, has his moments where I'm just like, dude, you gotta shut up. Like, come on now. Um, but yeah, they also got so my mom sent them some money for Christmas and she said that they could spend their money now. And so I got called mean because I won't let them have all their Christmas presents now. I haven't even bought them, but I won't let them have them. And so I'm mean. Um,
Oh man, that delayed gratification. So hard.
yeah, but my mom is really nice because she let them have their Christmas presents. So they got to go shopping for their Christmas presents yesterday.
Hmm.
And so they were really happy. Got a lot of things, fun, whatever. But while they were doing that, so this goes into my sour, I was dealing with a lot of family drama that really did not need to be out there in the world. And yeah, it just really made my weekend go downhill very quick because I mean, Sandra knows the full story, but basically, my cousin said something that was incorrect about my dad.
Very
Um,
disparaging. Yeah.
yeah, very disparaging and demeaning about my dad, who is no longer living. So he could not say anything. And the only people she attacked were people who had died. And then was very like gaslighting when somebody brought up that, no, this isn't the truth. Like, you have no way of knowing this. And yeah, it was just a rough situation to be in. And, if you know me, if you know the situation with my dad, you know that he was diagnosed with cancer in October and died in December. So like this time frame is always really hard for my family because it's the holidays and happy moments and whatnot. But the last time I saw him was on Thanksgiving and then he passed away. And so it's just a really hard time for somebody then who knows all of that to then use it as a weapon.
Yeah, you know my take on it.
Yeah, Justin's take was none too pleasant either. Um, but I was trying to be polite in my disagreement with what they were saying, but in my head, I was not being so polite because it irritated me heavily.
You took the high road.
I also hate, and I know I've mentioned this before, treat people nice, treat people like you would want to be treated. I hate the people who act like they are the best people in the world and then they do something just to be spiteful, just to make themselves feel better about themselves. And at the same time, they're saying, oh, I'm the best person in the world. No, if you do something bad, own it. Like, don't hide behind God. Don't hide behind I'm a good person, so don't like get mad at me. No, if you do something bad, own it.
Yeah. Family stuff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But I basically told them that I did not want them in my life anymore.
Good for you. You know,
So
you don't
yeah,
need that.
yeah, don't need it. But yeah, so that's my sour. Is it was just a draining weekend dealing with that, and I don't have makeup on today, and so I'm
Okay.
staring at myself in this little thing like, God, you should have put makeup on this, but it's okay. It's okay. don't judge too heavily. So on that downer of a note, well, I said the sweet. I had a really good week. Like in general, like even though the weekend was kind of like, so
how come you get to start with your sweets?
Well, because my sours are not usually like the downer of the like whole episode. Like today, yes, I should have started with my sour, but but no, I had a really great week and it was fun. And even though there's this drama, like I don't have to be a part of it anymore. And that's a sweet, like just knowing and growing enough to realize that I don't have to make everybody else happy at the cost of myself. It takes a weight off of me. Like, I don't have to try and please you. If you want to act like that, then you can act like that all you want. But like, I don't have to be involved in it. And it's just showed me like so much about being an adult and having those choices and being able to cut people out of your lives if they are toxic for you. I love it. Speaking of which, relationships.
Let's get into it. Gilmore Girls. So this show, it came out when we were 15, right?
Something like that. Yeah, we were young. Like I feel like I grew up with Rory.
Definitely.
Like we were around the same ages as we were growing up, and she was on the TV show growing up.
Yep. 15, and then it had like 7 seasons or something. It wrapped up when we were graduating from college. So yes, we very much grew up with this show. And I think one of the things I didn't appreciate as much when I was younger was just the generational dynamic. But now that we are pretty much the age or maybe a year or two older than Lorelai, the mom was in the show, I'm just like, holy shit. It's like, no wonder. Like, she's not old at all, and she doesn't have anything figured out, and she's just kind of taking it day by day, and I can relate so well, and it just means so much more now.
I want to be Lorelai now. Like, I want, like, in my bones, I want to be like Lorelai. I want to be the funny, like, rolls off your back, like, I can do it person. She's my spirit animal in a person form right there.
Yeah, I always loved her energy so much, and I always just thought it was a little just out of touch with reality. I'm like, who is really like that? But it was weird because one of my earlier jobs when I was working over at Walmart home office, I had a boss a couple levels above me, and then she kind of became a mentor later named Bambi, and Bambi had her same exact energy, just like bubbly, couldn't have a bad day. Like she had tough things, like some really hard challenges in her personal life, but she just like trucked through them. Like nothing could bring this woman down. And so yeah, she was like a real life Lorelai, and I just always appreciated that. And I'm so jealous that you get to watch Gilmore Girls having your own daughter now. I remember thinking back then when I was 15, like, oh, I can't wait until, you know, I'm older and maybe I'll have a daughter and get to watch this with her and appreciate. So I'm sure it's surreal.
It's very interesting seeing it, like, because when I was growing up, I was all about, like, I was in the same emotions that Rory was. I'm like, yeah, I agreed with her when her and her mom would fight, or when she would get snippy with her mom. I'm like, yeah, you tell her, like, do it. But now as I watch it, I'm like, you're being a brat. Stop it.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. And I feel like Carly has the same emotions that I did with Rory, where she's like, yeah, mom, you're being annoying. Stop it. And I'm sitting here, you know, with Lorelai. So
yeah. What do you think of Lorelai and Rory's relationship? Because they don't have a parent-child relationship at all. They have like a best friend relationship. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think they have more best friend relationship, but you did see some times in the show where Lorelai stepped over that and was like, no, I'm your mom first. And if you don't like that, then, you know, maybe we don't need to be best friends anymore. Like the time over her 21st birthday where Lorelai disagreed heavily with her quitting Yale.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, then we just don't need to talk until you like figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
So she did step out of that
Yeah.
a
There
few
was that
times.
scene when Rory, she was like 19 and lost her virginity to Dean, and Lorelai came in on the tail end of it and kind of
Mm-hmm.
just laid down the law and was like, "You're the other woman."
Mm-hmm.
And Rory was just basically like, "How could you ruin this for me? Like, why can't you be happy for me?" type of thing, and just wasn't getting it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, she was 19. Like, yes, that is still a child, and we are all idiots at 19.
Yeah, but Lorelai also knew as an adult what that was going to do for her or like to her and how she was going to feel about it later. Like in the moment, okay, fine. She didn't realize what that meant. But later on in life she does. And I think she regretted how it happened because she couldn't be happy about it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
if she'd
everything had
waited
to be
just a little
secret.
bit, if she'd waited just a little bit, let him get divorced first, then they could have had a more positive experience of starting over in a relationship and maybe have made it.
If he got divorced. Yeah, because there was that whole scene where she was just like, if if Lindsay hadn't found that letter, like, would you have
Mm-hmm.
split
Yeah.
up? And he was just like, of course. It's like, I don't know if I really
Mm-hmm.
buy that, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So I can see Lorelai's side to that. Like I can also see
Mm-hmm.
Rory's, but I can see Lorelai's side of don't you want this to be a positive experience? Like I
Yeah.
get that right now in your feelings it's positive, but overall you're hiding. You're the other woman and you're never going to have all of him until he gets divorced. And is he
Yeah.
getting a divorce? No.
That
No.
was a tough lesson. But then
Mm-hmm.
I just had so many qualms with Rory growing up, and I don't know where she went wrong because when the whole series first starts, it's like this exciting, bubbly relationship between this
Mm-hmm.
mom and her teenage daughter, and she gets into this prestigious, prep school to finish out her high school years, and she's wanting to get into Harvard and all this. And Rory's just like the model daughter, model
Mm-hmm.
student, like squeaky clean, has never done anything wrong in her entire life, which I know we both relate to because we
Mm-hmm.
were so sheltered. She also got more freedom than we did back then too, though. That was like
Mm-hmm.
another
Yeah.
thing I was always jealous of. Yeah.
And that town was like basically a surrogate parent because everybody knew everybody's business and cared so much about everybody else. So it was
Yeah.
I wanted to be from Stars Hollow. Like I
I
still want to find a
know.
town that's like that
I want a
so that
Stars
like
Hollow.
I can go and insert myself in there somehow and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I grew up here. Yeah, I'm part of this. We're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But it's like because of this innocence, I guess, that she had and just this friendly type of relationship she had with her mom, it's like I don't know, like she started drawing the attention of these guys that who not only thought she was, pretty to look at,
Mm-hmm.
but they also realized that she was very brainy and intellectual too, you know? So of course she's going to start picking up the attention of different kinds of guys. And so I feel like she just didn't really know what to do with that. But it's like even after the whole Dean fiasco, when they did the reboot of
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh. And we see how Rory is. She has like some weird boyfriend named Paul that we don't meet. And she's having this affair with
With
Logan,
Logan.
who is engaged to some Odette girl. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Still, you're in your 30s now.
It seems like that's a pattern for her. That she doesn't
Yes.
like she didn't pick up on that this is not going to work out well for you.
Yes.
If he's not breaking up his relationship, he is likely never going to. But I also, looking back and rewatching it as an adult, I did not see all of the things that Lorelai gave up or like compromised of herself to
Mm,
provide for Rory in the same light. I'm like, yeah, like that's no big deal. You talk to your parents, get over it. But like looking back on it as an adult, like Lorelai had to stomach a lot of things to make sure Rory could go to Chilton and they had that money. And then, buying that in and making sure that she could go to Yale and, making sure that she could have the fun life and enjoy herself and not, just be consumed with school and all of that. And I did not see that the first time around when I was watching it. I again picked Rory's side. I'm like, yeah, get over it. You had to talk to your parents. Like, chill. Like, it's 2 hours out of your Friday that you have to go visit them. Move on. Yeah. But then you see all of the things that Lorelai had to put up with as a kid and deal with. And then you're like, okay, maybe this was a harder thing. Maybe you did have to choke down more than just the 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I don't think Rory ever fully appreciated that.
No.
Because she had a much different relationship with her grandparents than
Lorelai she loved them. Yeah. It's just, that's how it goes though, right? Like, unless you're the one in it, you're that generation that's dealing with that day to day, that's your, at home life. Lorelai was very much smothered by Emily. And it's like, even those Friday dinners, every time Emily opens her mouth, it's like Emily is just like so high class all the time and just like talking over everyone, not really listening what Lorelai has to say, just kind of putting her 2 cents on everything.
Well, and a lot of times it wasn't even like a 2 cents. It was, you're bad. You didn't do this right. You whatever. It was disparaging towards her. So yeah.
So I mean, looking back, it had to have been kind of a gut punch to Lorelai when Rory had such a naturally good relationship with Emily and her grandfather.
Yeah.
So,
but she didn't try and stop it, which would be hard as a parent. Like, if you had a really rough relationship with your parents, it would be hard to step aside and be like, you know what? That's between me and you. You still deserve a relationship with your granddaughter as long as you do it right, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That would be hard to like put yourself out of that equation. I mean, that's what a good parent does, but it's still hard.
I feel like there are a lot of people out there that would be like, nope, you're having nothing to do with my kid,
Yeah.
And that's that. But she let Rory kind of figure it out on her own. Her baggage is her baggage, and
she stood by her when she did disagree with it, or when she had a bad experience. She stood by her and said, you know what? I get it.
Yeah. That family dynamic was always tough to watch on screen together because you know how complicated the situation was with Lorelai not getting along with them, but Rory was getting along with them. But then it's like the whole concept of Stars Hollow and Lorelai just building her own family, around this inn. Like, I can't imagine being pregnant at 16 and just separating from my old money parents and just being like, you know what? I'm not going to depend on you guys for anything. I'm just going to go do this, work as a maid or whatever the crap she was at this inn and work her way up and just make all the sacrifices that way.
Yeah, but you said she built a family, and I know you texted me like this weekend that like family isn't always blood, it's who you make of it. And so she built a family. She built people who cared about Rory. She built that so that Rory never had to be the person who was starting over with nothing. Rory would always have people that cared.
Yep. Such a diverse group of people that she built as her little family. Michelle, I always loved him because he was just so fucking bitter all the time. Just like so eye roll and snarky.
So I was looking up quotes, and Michelle's quotes were the ones that I'm like, yep, true. Like, especially like he had a couple quotes that were like, I just can't deal with people today. They like,
yes.
And I'm just like, true.
He is a
true
mood.
story.
He is a mood.
And then what was the other one?
You are
Something
totally a
about
Sookie.
me.
Yes. Injury prone.
Oh, okay, yes. I feel like personality wise, I am more a Michelle though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am like, I don't want to deal with you today. Like,
Yeah.
no. And then his thing with the sticky notes. And he's like, your spawn is stealing the sticky notes again.
Your spawn. Yeah. I loved him. And
Yeah.
Luke. Good old Luke.
Yeah.
I liked Luke as a kid. As an adult, I don't know. Like,
He's a little
Luke is
off-putting. And I, even as a kid, I could not stand his daughter's story.
April.
Yes. Like, and his keeping it a secret. But then he was so mad at Lorelai for being involved in Christopher's like custody suit for
Mm.
Gigi. And then he freaking has the audacity to keep a child a secret. And then even after she finds out from like the child basically letting it slip that he's her dad, he won't let her near her.
Yeah.
And I'm
Luke
like,
lost points for me.
you're supposed to be in this relationship and you're holding everything that she's doing wrong against her. Yeah, you're doing this. This is not what somebody who's in a serious relationship with a person does.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was all for her with Chris then. I'm like, you know what? Go. Do it.
The whole Chris thing, it's like you wanted it to work out just
Mm-hmm.
because he was like guy zero, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he still had
And you
that
could
boyish
tell.
charm, the little bad boy streak, whatever. But he got his shit together, I feel
Yeah.
like.
And you could tell that they loved each other. Like it wasn't just like
Yeah.
a passing phase or like a, okay, I like you this week kind of a thing. Like they truly loved each other. Yeah, he was a dipshit a lot, but um yeah, I don't know. I cannot pick a guy for Lorelai, and I know that that's going to make people mad because there's a lot of Luke shippers, but like I liked her with Max. Each guy she had a positive relationship with, like there was no drama, there was no like, you're toxic with them, anything like that. With Max, didn't work out. He was her teacher, whatever, but they were super cute together. With
Max, yeah.
Luke, there was a little bit of drama, but that was Luke's fault. Um, yeah, and Chris, there was also drama, but like they were adults about the drama.
Yeah.
So
You
I
know, it's
can't.
not going to end well when Emily Gilmore is like pushing for Chris and Lorelai to be together.
Yeah, it doesn't end well anytime Emily pushes for anything. Like,
No.
so one of my favorite episodes is the one where Rory has just told her grandparents that she's dating Dean, but they don't deem that he's good enough for their family. Right. And so they set up this party and get her all dolled up and everything. And they only invite the alumni of Yale who have sons. And so like it's just sons all around. And Rory's coming down the stairs and her grandpa's like, you look so royal. And she's like, it could be the crown like that you made me wear. It could be. And then she's like going in and like she's realizing that it's only dudes. Only dudes. And Emily's like, yeah, that's Campbell. And the soup. Like, and she's like, I have a boyfriend, like I don't know. And then so they go on through the party and the boys are all just talking about cars or whatever, and Rory's totally not interested. And then Logan shows up and like right as this dude is hitting on her, and he's like, I'm sorry I'm late, babe. And the other dude's like, why am I here? Like I thought I was here to be set up with somebody. Like weird. And so they go and hang out, and Logan calls out the party was basically just to set her up. And Rory's like, I don't know. I probably need to let my boyfriend have a say in this. And Logan's like, you have a boyfriend? And does Richard and Emily know? And she's like, yep, they do.
Yeah. Poor Dean. He got the old the Notebook Noah treatment
But
from.
then he breaks up with her, and that's not her fault that her like grandparents set up this party that she didn't know anything about.
But it goes back to communication, right? Like they didn't take the time to talk to each other about what was going on. Like, it looked
Yeah.
bad on the outside, and
Yeah, well, Dean didn't
they
give her a
always just
shot.
blew
Like,
up.
Dean never gave her a shot.
He was
When Jess was
emotional.
hitting on her, like, Dean's like, well, I'm breaking up with you because, like, this other dude's interested in you, basically. And then when Logan was there, like, Dean didn't give her a shot at explaining that, hey, I didn't invite all these guys. My grandparents did.
I'm just biased. I'm always going to have a soft spot for Dean because I was Team Dean as a teenager and into my early 20s. I just always adored him as a boyfriend, but he was super insecure. He never thought that he would be good enough or on Rory's level. Like, he knew that I don't want to say that she was out of his league or anything like that, but that's how he always kind of looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
so she was like this outside entity to him. And he was emotional. Like,
yeah.
Like, one of my favorite episodes is the 24-hour dance marathon episode
Where he broke up with her.
Where he broke up with her in front of
somebody
everyone.
else liked her. Like,
but come on, Jess was sitting in the bleachers the entire time, staring at
Rory
her.
Could
like,
not control Jess. Jess was an asshole, but she
could control constantly
him.
Bringing up Jess, though. Like, she couldn't just concentrate on Dean. I don't know. I'm always going to defend Dean, but
I don't know.
I do realize that they are not soulmates.
I was not a Team Dean person at all. Dean annoyed the crap out of me. At first, I really liked him. He was adorable. Like, he was really cute with the family, like him and Lorelai, like, you know, bantered, and he was tall enough to replace their water or whatever, which was great for them. And so I really did. But then he let his like insecurities just get him. And if he didn't think he was good enough, then there's no way in hell he thought Jess was good enough for her.
Jess was a little dick. I hated him.
Yes, he was. I was Team Jess, and I'm going to preface this with I was Team Jess because there wasn't a whole lot of other options. But I was Team Jess because at least they changed each other for the better. Like, with Dean, he didn't change for the better. He became insecure and
made rash decisions.
Like getting married. Decisions were mean. He cheated on his spouse with her, like things like that. He did not make good decisions with Rory in a relationship. They did not make each other better. With Logan, he was just a little asshole. I loved him to death. Like, Logan is my person. But he was not good in relationship with Rory. They made each other worse. But with Jess, they at least didn't make each other worse. Like, Jess came out of it better. Rory, I think if she would have listened a little bit, would have came out a little bit better. But they didn't get worse.
I'm going to sip my wine.
Whether or not I like Jess as a person in the show, at least their relationship wasn't super. I don't know. It kind of was. I don't know. I think I don't like Rory. So, like,
the common factor here might be Rory. Yes.
I'm having problems because all of these guys did not do well with Rory. And I haven't seen a one that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's a healthy relationship. Yeah. Like, you guys make each other happy. You do things for each other. Although, like, relationships,
you can grow together.
Yes.
Yeah. Make each other's life better.
So I was Team Nobody, but if I had to pick of which one was slightly better for me, it was Jess. Because he held her to a certain years. Yeah, he held her to a certain standard. Like, when he like just disappeared, which he had his own shit going on. So, like, I also have to give him like a grain of salt. But he never
talked about it. He never attempted to open up or like communicate these things. And anytime something difficult happened, he just
shut down. Mm-hmm.
Like, disappeared or put up a wall. And I hate that. Like, when you're in a romantic relationship with someone and they always fall back to like, I need to disappear. I can't talk. Like, I need to go. And just like, don't even tell you. They just leave without warning, like Jess did on the fucking bus. Like, I hate that. Like, why? So that's why he irked me. But like who he was as a person, sorry, you can probably hear my dog barking in
Mm-hmm.
the background.
It's not my dog today, guys. It's not
I
my
know,
dog.
it's me today. There's probably someone walking. But I wanted to like Jess as a person because Dean was always like the stereotypical like high school athlete type who likes to watch football on the
Mm-hmm.
weekends and he wants to support his wife, like sweet guy next door, like literal
Yeah.
guy next door. So he wasn't good for Rory in that sense. Jess, I wanted to like him because he was like the dark and broody, like very
Mm-hmm.
deep. He liked to read his books. He wanted to write and all of the stuff. Like I felt like I had more in common with him, but he was just like a shitty communicator.
Felt sorry for him because he had a shitty life. So I felt a connection between him and Lorelai. Like they both had parents that just were not good parents to them.
Yeah, like his wanted nothing to do with him really, and
Mm-hmm.
Lorelai's wanted way too much to do with everything in her
Yeah.
life.
And so
Yeah.
I wanted to root for him. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
He was pretty crappy during certain times of their relationship.
Yeah. And
And he was an instigator, like to the ninth degree. Like he
oh
liked to
yes.
stir shit up.
Yes.
And that was frustrating. I'm like, dude, you don't need to do that.
Yeah. It reminded me of the whole Marco Noah thing, like Marco just
Mm-hmm.
trying to egg Noah on to get him to start a brawl. It was that type of thing. Where Jess really lost points with me was at Kyle's house party when he was trying to get Rory to sleep with him and she kept saying no wait, no wait, and he kept like pushing and pushing and then she like freaked out and when the
And then
whole
he got
fight
mad at
happened,
her.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no. You
Yeah.
are dead to me. You are dead to me. Now, go away." But I mean, he eventually grew up.
Yeah. And then Logan has his own issues. And
He's just a fuck
I,
boy.
yeah, I loved Logan for his snarkiness and for like, he was always the person that was there to like liven up the party. He always had the funny things going on. He was always the life of the party, which was great because like I didn't have that growing up. I'm not that person. So it was fun to watch him and his antics. So I loved that, but he was the most annoying person ever. Like he didn't care about her. He cared
Nope.
only to the point that he was getting something out of it. And
Yep.
then when he wasn't, he was just like, me, I don't need to invest my time in that. And he was done. And one of my favorite episodes slash one of my least favorite episodes was when he broke up. I don't remember why he broke up with Rory, but like around the Thanksgiving holiday in like season 6, I think. And then like he wanted to get back with her because he realized like he was a dipshit. But anyway, and he wanted to get back with her, and then he takes her to his sister's wedding, where basically they're talking about sleeping with him during that like week time that they were
Yeah.
broken up. And she's
Yeah.
like, the least you
Ugh.
could have done is given me a warning that I'm walking into a room with a whole bunch of people that you slept with while I thought we were just taking a break. And apparently you thought we were broken up, but whatever. Least you could have done is say, hey, by the way, they may say something. But he gaslighted her and like, oh, well, they shouldn't have said anything. Like, no, it's not their problem that you're a friggin' man whore. Like,
Yeah.
no, if you truly loved me, like it would not have been that easy to get over me. And you would not have
Exactly.
slept with 7 people in the
Yep.
7 days we were broken up. Like,
That bothered me. Yeah. That was
and
so messed
so
up.
I loved that. So that was the reason it was my least favorite. But then I loved that Rory's like, you know what? No, like I deserve better than this. You're going to have to work pretty hard to get me back now. And she made him work for it. And I loved it.
Logan, ugh, it was just his stupid dimples and his smooth talking ability. That's all. He was just such a smooth talker. That
Mm-hmm.
scene that you're talking about at the wedding, it's like, oh, that killed me. I was just like, I couldn't handle it. I just being in that situation before, I'm just like, it's not fun. When you find out that someone has slept with somebody else or a couple people in
Mm-hmm.
some time that you thought was like a not that serious type of break, then yeah, it says a lot about, I guess they really didn't love me and care about me if it took them zero time to just go sleep with someone, you
Well,
know?
yeah, I had a boyfriend who cheated on me and then was like, I love you, I want you back. But at the same time, he's working to get me back. He was sleeping with a whole bunch of people. Like, no, that's not you loving me or trying to get me back. Like, that's you just sleeping around. Like,
Yeah, so you're trying to have the best of both worlds. Like have
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, no, like, you don't get to use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
If you truly loved her, you wouldn't have done that. And that's kind of still what he is doing, I guess, present time in the life in the year in the life episodes too. He's having his cake and he's eating it too. He's got his fiance
Yep.
that, elevates him in the business world. And then he's having Rory on the side, basically. And I wish she would just grow up. And I also want
Yeah.
to know who the baby daddy is.
I know.
So bad.
Yeah. It would make sense if it was like it would make sense if it was Chris Logan.
That would
Just
not make
because
sense at all,
no, no.
Sandra.
Just because of the whole cycle thing. Like I feel like it's a
Mm-hmm.
similar type of thing. And
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
show feels very
Because
much generational.
Chris
Yeah.
was definitely Lorelai's fuckboy.
Yeah, definitely.
He came back to her when he was down on his luck or when he was like, didn't have something better going on. But
Yeah.
then the second he got something better, it was like, peace.
Yeah, I always felt bad for Lorelai, especially when it seemed like her and Chris were actually going to do this and move on. And then he finds out his ex-girlfriend's pregnant, and he's like, "Well, I guess I'm going to go back to her and do the right thing and be there for the baby."
That irked me because like you weren't there for your other child. You're still not there for your other child. So like don't tell the mother of that child that you're going to go and be a stand-up guy and be there for that baby.
Yeah, I was very very torn. There's a scene where Lorelai has to go to dinner with Emily and Richard, and they think that she's still with Christopher, and then she has to break the news that, well, no, his ex-girlfriend's pregnant, so he's going back to her. And Emily's like, "What? No, you're his family. You and Rory are his family. They're not his family." And Richard is actually siding with Christopher, like, "No, this is like his second chance to like do it
Mm-hmm.
right this time. Like, I understand." And so Emily and Richard get into it, and Lorelai just quietly
She's like, I don't know
leaves
what to say. Like,
out. Yeah. I just love this show because, I mean, coming out in 2001, like it still felt very wholesome and
mm-hmm.
witty and stuff, but these people had such messy lives. Like their relationships were all over the place. Like nothing was cut and dry. It just relationships with people are complicated, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
family or first love or exes or, whatever it is. Like it's so messy all the time. And I always loved how this show was able to incorporate all of that while threading through that humor and that really
Mm-hmm.
fast wit.
Yeah. So, what were your other favorite episodes?
I mean, besides the 24-hour dance marathon, I I don't know if I can't remember like specific episodes, and they're all like Dean moments, and I don't know whether you want to hear them or not.
No, I am more than fine hearing Dean's
I just like
better
first
moments. Like
love
he did have
stuff.
some.
He had some
I
of the
just
cutest scenes and moments in the entire series. Like everything from how their first kiss happened, like
he
him just
built
kind
her
of
a
like,
freaking car, so like
I know. And then they like sat and maybe this was like a other car, but they just kind of would sit in the car and like look at the sky at night and
mm-hmm.
talk. Like I just love those moments so much. But it's like, were they on the same intellectual level? No.
Yeah.
Like Rory needed a Jess intellectually.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like those moments with Dean. But I guess I'm trying to think of like there's so many other notable characters like in the town itself too. Like Kirk, true staple, idiot. He's just so stupid.
I I saw a quote about Kirk when I was looking up quotes, and it was basically like I would like to like have the glow of somebody who goes to the gym every day, but without having to go to the gym. And I think it was when he was on that like juice diet. And so he thought that like he was going to get the glow. And he was smelling people's bacon, like full on, like leaning over their plates. Like, I've got to smell this. And I felt him in that moment,
He was
because
so
I would
weird.
like to get that like glow of working out without actually working out. But yeah, I just thought it was hilarious. I love Kurt because he had so many like moments where you're just like, you're an idiot, but you're funny. So
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my favorite moments are just like witty exchanges with Lorelai and Luke, her just
mhm.
drinking her 10th cup of coffee, sitting at the little
The
bar,
IB of coffee.
hmm But it's like I knew I was gonna love the show when one of Rory's first lines, when that guy is like hitting on Lorelai and then hitting on Rory, and he doesn't realize they're
Are
mother and
you my new
daughter.
daddy?
Are you my new daddy? And it's like, oh my God, I loved it. It's like, yep.
Yep.
This is the humor of the show.
And then Lorelai comes back and she's like, man, you just really love my table.
Yeah. Ugh, that guy was so slimy.
Yeah. Um, I also loved, and this is going to go back to the grandparent relationship with Rory and how different it was with like Lorelai. But I loved the moment where Richard finds out that Lorelai was not lying and the Huntsbergers did tell Rory that she wasn't good enough for them. And he goes and immediately tells Emily. And Emily goes up to Logan's mom and she's like, okay, so I hear we have a problem. And Logan's mom's like, well, there's your money and then there's our money. And like Emily basically just lets her have it about how you were a 2-bit like stewardess when Mitchum met you. And like he's still cheating on you. So I wouldn't be all high and mighty about this. And she's like, they will stay together for as long as they want to. And there's not a damn thing you're going to do about it. Thank
Hmm
you. And this was all during an event. And she's like, just like railing on her and then just walks away. Like,
Yep.
yep, I've said my piece. I'm done. Bye. I loved that because that was the moment you see that Emily loved Rory with all she had. Like she may have
hmm
not shown it the proper way, but she showed it in her way.
Yeah.
And she wasn't about to let Rory get
Yeah. She's
treated like
Emily
she wasn't.
Gilmore. She's gonna do everything she
Yeah,
can to show. Yeah.
yeah. And so I loved that. And then I also loved, and this goes back to my comment about Logan and being just like so funny all the time, but like the episode where he and I don't remember which one it was, like Finn and Colin, like have that little, I don't know, they act out that Finn or Colin, whichever one it was in love with Rory in the middle of her class. And then Logan comes in and they get into the fake fight about like, she loves me now, she doesn't love you. And then the other one comes in and like blows this little whistle and he's like, Rory, you should be ashamed of yourself toying with these two guys. Give them their balls back, Gilmore.
Oh,
And it was so embarrassing for Rory, but like so hilarious for everybody else involved. And
yeah.
then Rory turns the tables and gets Richard to tell like Logan that he's talked to his dad because he heard that Logan, you know, professed his feelings for Rory. And so now they're planning the wedding and they've done the prenup already and blah, blah, blah. And Logan looks like he's about to shit his pants. It's like, I love those scenes. Like, they just made me laugh so hard.
You are a Logan fangirl.
I know.
You're like
But
nonstop smiling the whole time you talk about Logan.
I don't think I could date Logan. So
He's a
like in
lot.
a relationship, he's a lot. Like I don't think I could do that. But as an outside person watching his shenanigans, I like it.
How did you feel after watching the 4 episode reboot?
I did
I was
not like
sad.
anybody in that. I didn't like anybody.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember finishing it and, she ends with those 3 words, Mom, I'm pregnant. And I remember just feeling so many different emotions, how that ended. And it just it didn't feel like the wit and the quick
Mm-hmm.
snark and stuff. It felt a little slower, but it's like they're obviously everyone looks very like much older
Mm-hmm.
now. And so
More
of course,
mature.
yeah, so they didn't quite capture like the essence of what the original was, but they
Mm-hmm.
tried. But I appreciated different dialogue moments where they would just kind of it had that double meaning where it was talking more about just the grand scale of things, like how much time has passed really since
Mm-hmm.
they've done this. And so I always liked that, but it was just bittersweet moments. Like she runs into Dean in the grocery store and he's like finally found his one, Jen, who is like Genevieve in real life, and they have like all of their children and just a loud household, and he's happy finally. So I was happy that Dean found his happiness, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like talking to him, saying how she wants to include him in the book that she's writing, and he's like very unsure about it, and she's like, all I really want to say, Dean, is you helped me know what safe feels like. And I was like, oh, because he was always like the
Mm-hmm.
safe choice, you
Yeah.
know, he was
And
very much the safe boyfriend.
he was a lot like Emily. He would have done anything for her. Like he loved her like that.
Oh, he loved her a lot.
He couldn't get over his own like insecurities, but he loved her so much that she asked him to do anything and he was like, "Yep, I'll do
Yeah.
it."
Yeah. And that's not healthy either, you
Mm-mm.
know, when it's one way.
But yeah,
So
I
I'm
was
glad he
happy.
found his happiness.
I guess I think the only person, well, I liked Jess and I liked Dean in the new series,
Yeah.
but they were the only people I actually really liked in that. Like I
Yeah.
thought everybody else was still just like not grown up for the time lapse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like even Lorelai and Luke, like they hadn't got their shit together and it'd been 10
No,
years.
I was like, that doesn't make me feel good at all. I'm like, how many years has passed in this entire
And
time, and you guys are still having basic communication problems?
and Rory and Logan like hadn't got their shit together either. So like
No.
I guess the only people I liked in that were the people I didn't like in the original.
Yeah. And then it's like Rory herself, the first time I watched it, I remember just not liking her at all. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, man, she just comes across as very like depressed and empty inside. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like she has made her life all about just like these other guys, like whoever she's dating, instead of really truly focusing on herself, that she just feels empty, like an empty person. And so it didn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy.
No. So who is your favorite character total? Like in general. And you can't pick Dean because we've already heard about Dean. But like
um
I guess you can pick Dean if he's your favorite character out of everybody.
For growth, I'll say Jess because I hated him. I capital H hated him in the original
He was
series.
dead to her, remember? He was
He was
dead.
dead to me. I wanted him to go away, and he turned out all right. Like he got his shit together as best as like he had his shit together. He looked good. He seemed like he was emotionally and mentally in a good spot. And that's what you like to see from someone, you know?
Mm-hmm. So I loved Paris.
Paris, oh my God. She's like the same girl after all this time, but just like,
Yes.
yeah.
I loved her for her quick, like she could hold her own with Rory and the smartness and like all of those. But she also like was just so quick at everything. Like,
Mm.
and she had her moments where she felt like completely destroyed, like when she didn't get into Harvard.
Oh,
You know, you could tell that destroyed her personally. But she picked up, she moved on. And then like I just loved her like one-liners. Like when the person walked in from the or she walked in from the rain and the person in the building was like, "Is it raining out there?" And she's like, "No, it's National Baptism Day. Tie your tubes, idiot."
she's, yeah.
She was a
I
hoot.
love the one-liners. Hmm.
And I like how her relationship with Rory, like I think her relationship's the only one that stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Like,
And they hate each other at first.
yeah, they hated each other. They grew, they became friends, and then she followed Rory to Yale, and like kind of forced herself into being a roommate situation there. And then like they were there for each other all the time. When Logan broke Rory's heart, Paris was there like, you better leave her alone, dude.
Yeah. I did like that kind of bulldogishness
Mm-hmm.
about Paris. There
And
was
then
also Lane too.
the same
Lane
with,
was,
yeah, the same with Rory for her, for
yeah,
Paris. So like when Doyle, Paris's
yeah,
boyfriend, was acting up, like Rory's like, dude, stop it.
yeah.
You know, like they had each other's back. And Lane was the same. So I think Rory was good with the girlfriend. She could pick those suckers out like nobody's business. The boyfriends, however, she just sucked at.
Yeah. I remember when I was, 15, 16 or whatever, Tristan's character, I always wanted like something more to come out of that,
I
just
know.
being 15. And now as an
He
adult,
was
I'm
so
like,
cute.
really, Sandra? He was adorable. Chad Michael Murray was just like,
And he was that boy in high school that just like exuded like cool and hotness and like, yeah, at 15 you're like, yeah, I want them to get together because it makes me feel like maybe this is possible for me, maybe, you know.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I kind of wish he would have been in the
The
reboot,
remake.
just like a quick cameo, But
Mm-hmm.
oh well,
They were
can't have
having a lot
everything.
of cameos in that 4 hour
Yeah.
period of time already.
I don't know. In spite of everything, with everybody's flaws, they're still, I guess, representative of real people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how many people do you know in your own family that just like decades later are dealing with the same BS? Like, sometimes some people just don't learn their lessons? Like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people just don't grow in that regard.
Sometimes people think that
So,
they're the center of the universe and everybody else should
yeah,
change around them.
yeah. So it
So
was
yeah.
very real in that sense. I just this is a comfort show for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I was working from home, I would just have it on playing and like la 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 like all the sounds and stuff. It just takes me back and makes me feel good.
Have
All
you
the
watched the
cozy.
show The Marvelous Mrs Maisel?
No. What
It's
is that
by
on?
this Prime, Amazon Prime. It's by the same writers of Gilmore Girls. And
Mm.
it is much, it's a more adult show, but it is much more like old school Gilmore Girls, like the fast
Mm.
wit and all of that. And so it centers around a comedian, and her husband cheats on her. And so the first time she goes up on stage is the day that she found out that he was cheating on her and he leaves her. And so she goes up and like rails him, like the best thing in the freaking world, rails him. And so then you see them grow and they get divorced or whatever. And then like later on in the series, she gets back up on stage at his club because he opened a club and he'd left for a little bit. And she was like just talking or whatever. And he comes out and he's like, I I don't know. Like, this is what I do when you leave. Like, I get up on stage and she's like, did you not learn from the last time? And it was just great because they were in a good spot at that time. So she was saying nice things about him, but she's like, did you not learn? Like, when you leave, I say things about you.
Mm.
So I totally recommend that one. That one is back towards like their
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls vibe at the beginning, with the comedy and stuff.
I'll
So
have to, yeah, I'll have to try that one out.
yeah, but I loved Gilmore Girls for different reasons. I love different characters for different reasons. I'm not totally against Dean. He was just my least favorite boyfriend.
I like that we always have opposing views on some stuff.
I know. We are completely different people, but it takes that. Like Rory and Paris were completely different people,
Mhm.
but it worked. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do these, whether it's Angel has that
Mm-hmm.
poll
I'm
ended.
still winning. Like, no, it ends tomorrow, I think.
I
Um,
thought I had it in the bag for like a
Shout out to
little while
Ben.
there.
Shout out to Ben. I'm just going to say, I think that he helped a lot in that. We were
Damn
close to
you.
losing. We were close to losing, but I think we are going to get this. It's working. And that means I get to look at David Boreanaz some more.
Wait, did you think he was hot back in the day?
Did you not?
He wasn't, I don't know, my type back then.
Holy hell. Like, yes, I thought he was hot. I still think he's hot.
Fine, I'll watch it. Has the poll officially ended? I can
start watching tomorrow.
That. Okay.
It ends tomorrow. You still have time. I don't think you're gonna do it, but like, you can only vote once, right?
Correct.
You can't vote more than once with
unless you open 20 accounts and vote separately.
Sandra, don't do that. Cheater.
But anyway, I was trying to go. I just love the nostalgia of something like Gilmore Girls. So maybe once a month, like you and I were talking about, just like revisiting Roswell, Dark Angel, Angel, Buffy, whatever the hell we want to revisit and just make us feel 15, 16 again.
Or
just have
as
all the good vibes.
Taylor says, I'm feeling 22.
I love her.
I have one more quote that I'm going to point out because I think it fits so much, and it's a Lorelai quote. I think it fits so much and like just very succinctly does it. But like she has a quote that says, "Relationships need verbs," and I loved it. Like it was so like it's 3 words, but if you're going to be in a relationship, you need somebody to do something.
That's right.
Not just say
I just saw a quote today, I swear to God. It was like, love is a verb. Like, you can't just say the words. You have to show the love every day.
And I think that that's one thing that was missing from every boyfriend Rory had was they said it. Just none of them did it.
Except for Dean. Rory was the one saying the words, but not like actually loving
I don't know,
him.
because he let his insecurities like drive a wedge. Like he said he loved her, but he couldn't get over the fact that like somebody out there may have been better for her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he truly did. He just had his teenage moments where he wasn't grown up enough for that kind of love.
Young. He was so young in this series.
So
Did he start filming Supernatural like
right after? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm not faulting him for that. He was just so young. He wasn't prepared to be in that serious of a relationship yet.
No.
He was a good guy. He just wasn't there yet. Maturity wise. I think if she'd met him third, they'd have been good.
Yeah.
Like if she would have met him in her 20s and he was in his 20s, they could have made it work. But then you'd have probably liked Jess better because he was her first love then.
You don't know that. You don't know me like that. I know. Okay, I'm off my Dean high horse now. It's fine.
No, I like Dean. I like all of them for their own things, but I dislike all of them for their own things too. So, like,
especially Rory.
Yes. Rory had a lot of dislikes for me in the end. But that's okay. It's okay.
I hope she finds her happiness. I hope she gets happy. Wherever she is. I hope she's happy.
I hope we figure out who her baby daddy is. At some point.
Paul.
Please no, because wasn't he like dressed up as something the whole time? And that's why we didn't see him?
Yeah, it was like something crazy like that.
A furry animal, like a theme park animal or something.
So weird.
Yeah.
What should we do next? Or throwback one?
I don't know. I think we're going to have to do Angel.
How many seasons? I don't have time to watch all of that.
Well, like...
Right, like anytime near future. A month?
Get on it, Sandra.
I hate you all.
No, we can do like Dark Angel or Charmed. How about Charmed?
Ooh, yeah.
Because there's a reboot of that too.
It looks so dumb. I'm not gonna lie. It looks so lame, but
we can still do.
Yeah. Sabrina.
The original. Oh yes. The new one of Sabrina looks very...
It's not bad. I've watched some.
I mean, I've watched some too, but it looks
Yeah.
like a darker take.
Not like the stuff we grew up on.
Yeah, like a seriously darker take. Let's see, what else? What other ones are there?
Roswell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that one.
Seventh
Every
Heaven.
single one of these, besides Seventh Heaven now, have had a remake. Roswell, Charmed.
When did they remake Roswell?
It's on Prime right now.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm. It's got the dude who
I'm gonna have
played
to look at
in
this.
Vampire Diaries in it.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Like Jackson. He didn't play one of the main characters until later on. But he was a werewolf in it. But yeah, no.
Okay. We'll talk about it. So that's something to look forward to. Maybe a monthly basis.
Maybe we'll do a poll of what people think we should do next.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can work on that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah. Which one of these should we do, guys? Let us know.
Yeah, and while you're at it, let us know if you're Team Dean, like you should be, or Team Jess, or Team Logan, or just Team Rory, or no one.
Yeah, or no one. You don't have to choose. If no one floats your boat,
that's okay too. But any last words? I think that was a good quote to end this on.
Yep. Nope. I'm Team Lorelai, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, she did the best she could.
Yeah, she was always there for the people she loved.
Mm-hmm. I loved her.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
all right.
Everybody, have a great week. And we'll talk to you next week.
Yoo-hoo! Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.